Welcome again from 1 second ago, friends.
Hi.
Welcome.
The post-election, still in the madness edition of the Powered Ventures Facebook Live. So I don't know whether we should just do some deep breathing for the next 30 minutes and call it a win, or
I'm sure the whole world needs to do deep breathing at this point. It's not just us.
I think that I can feel it in the air. I first I thought the agitation was personal, and I realized it ain't personal.
No, it's not.
It is just, it's everywhere.
You know, there's that really great song, "The World's About to Turn." You know that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, we used to sing it in beer and hymns a lot, but it's so fitting for right now. Yeah.
That's another episode.
Anyway, welcome, friends. We're glad you're here. We're just going to talk about some good stuff today, and we are not going to be, I recently learned this term, spiritual bypassing, which is where you don't talk about what's actually really important, that you just kind of make it feel like that's fine, everything's okay. And so we're not going to do that today. And we're also not going to get stuck in the muck and the mire either. We're going to find a balance between passion and equanimity today. That's going to be one of our goals. And I think that's going to be one of our goals for this week and for this month, and even, over the next few months as we transition. So Dave, may I introduce you?
Yeah, let me just say a few words, and then I'll just follow up on that and give people a chance to get on as well. So I guess I'm usually the interviewer, but today I am the talent and the interviewee, and Rennie and Stacy will be asking me questions, and I'll be carrying on. But the reason that I'm here, we're doing this configuration, is as Rennie and Stacy and I were meeting and planning out our week and going through our guests, and we kept coming up, and everything just felt like, oh no, let's put ourselves in the shoes. Let's just imagine, if you will, that it's Wednesday. We've had a night where most of them have been up trying to read the tea leaves and the entrails of animals, and nobody knows what's going on right now. And that to bring anybody else on and talk about anything other than what's going, or at least referencing what's going on, would be tone deaf. And so we thought about what could we do, and at the same time we don't want to sit here and just post-mortem it. And so what we came up with is that right now, with Powered Ventures and formerly the entrepreneurs, it's all about bringing your heart, bringing your passion into your business, and that being your superpower and your secret sauce and your differentiator and all the other things of having that passion. And we tap into that passion, and we bring that out, and we collectively kind of reinforce it and touch it in others. And at the same time, we want to have perspective and detachment and objectivity and equanimity. And those two things right now, especially, I think we're all finding that space of, wow, I don't want, I'm passionate, I feel passionate, I want to turn down my passion. At the same time, I don't want to lose my equanimity. So we thought that would be a good thing to talk about. So anyway, now, Rennie, Stacy, I'm sorry. Stacy, you can go ahead and say whatever. As we used to say in West Virginia, the West Virginia eulogy was, does anybody have anything good to say about him before we bury him? So you can give a West Virginia eulogy here and say a few good things about me.
I don't know if we have enough time for West Virginia eulogy. I don't know if I'm concise enough for that, because I personally and professionally adore you. I'm so grateful for your presence in my life, and I think a lot of people know our kids get to be friends, and that's in one way how we get to be friends, but we have a deeper connection to that in our families, and just also in life. I went through a really big thing last spring, and my friend was dying. My friend was dying of cancer. And Dave and I were sitting in the basketball bleachers watching our kids play game after game, and we traveled to Virginia, to Richmond together for a tournament, and Dave never stopped and he never gave up. And he thought of creative ways to care for me and to care for my friend who was passing. She's in a different country. Which leads me to let you know he is a contemplative person. He actually got to stay in a monastery for a while, and he asked the monks to pray for my family, my friend's family, and so he is creative in this beautiful way, where he's also caring and has his own inward life that is so rich, and inner life that is so rich, and we really need that right now um, in ourselves. I've been reading MLK, and he talks a lot about the inner stillness when everything around us is a tornado or is chaos. And so Dave is someone who embodies that because of the personal and professional experiences that he's been willing to enter into. So he was, we want to say all the things: trial attorney, like, fabulous, like amazing, like, stands in front of a jury and presents the facts and figures and speaks to their hearts and to them as humans. Serial entrepreneur, has, created multiple businesses, entered them, sold them out successfully, like done a lot of really great work. Also mentor. Dave is a constant mentor. He has worked with college students. He has a really cool program where he is not scared as a like typical masculine man to enter into what his feelings are and what his heart is. And he helps lead and guide other people to not be scared of that, to like really enter in so they can be their best selves for themselves and for their partners and their families and their community. And it's you can throw your links up in the chat if you want to, Dave, but I'm really proud of who you are and what you do. And I'm honored to be your colleague in all of this. And so today, let's talk about all that, and let's just like unpack some stuff. So I know you have kind of some things you want to start with, so I'm going to open it up to you, and then we can talk a little bit more. But yeah, tell us what's on your heart and in your head this morning.
Well, first of all, I not only want to thank you for that beautiful soliloquy, but also, as you were talking, I was thinking something Julie had mentioned to me. I'm sure it's not original, but it still fits my wife. Is that she said that you want to hang out with people that you feel like you're your best self with.
Yeah.
And I just feel that's what I feel when I hear you talk. I just feel like you just bring out my best self. So thank you for that. And I think we do that for each other. So so I want to talk about passion and equanimity, and two things that are critically important in our inner lives and in our businesses. And,
Dave,
and
would you start with like maybe a definition, just so all of us are on the same page?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
What's your definition of passion? What's your definition of equanimity? Because I think some people might not.
Yeah, and that's good. I will define it, and I'll leave it just really open for people to kind of touch into.
Yeah.
Like when I think of my own passion, what is it? What do I think of? What is it that sets me on fire? What is it? So passion to me is not only like having the thermostat turned up, which is some of the things that we have a tendency to turn our thermostat down because people have told us we're too much. It's partly the heat that we give off, but it's also an alignment where you would, I guess in a very practical way, where people have said that, and I know you said, I would do this even if I wasn't getting paid for it, and so there's that kind of alignment. There's a sense of that so much of there's a word in Yiddish for our craziness, which is mishigas. So much of our mishigas just fades away. And rather than us struggling and thinking of all these techniques we have to not act neurotic or obsessed or nervous or self-conscious, you don't need to go to your strategies because you're doing something you care so deeply about that it doesn't occur to you to be less than present. Yeah. So I think it's a matter of heat and alignment and purpose. I guess that's part of the alignment too, is that you find that you just feel like, someone asked my first spiritual teacher if he was happy, and he said, I don't know if I'm happy, but I know what I want to do with my life, and I'm spending 100% of my time doing it, so I get happy. So that's part of the passion too, is the doing what's that's purpose. So yeah, so to me, it's not being afraid, or maybe sometimes it's not being afraid to be out there in terms of how much you care about whatever it is. And then I think the equanimity is really, that's a really interesting question. There are, I guess, getting back to their strategies you could have to be equanimous, is Thich Nhat Hanh, I think, calls it, to just be like settled, that you can go to. And I did it last night when I woke up at 3 o'clock and thought I'd got to run down and check the election results. And I'd rather be equanimous right now. So,
Yes.
So there's techniques for that. And there's things we know that cultivate equanimity and things that cultivate the opposite. And so part of it is that. But in my own experience, it's just a deep sense of just falling into yourself and being comfortable in your own skin. So that, I mean, I guess I've gotten kind of heavy with all that, but yeah, so that's so when I talk about maintaining passion and equanimity, I think this election is just I'm not going to pretend I don't care about the results. I'm not going to be cool and say, oh, okay. Because to do that would be disingenuous, would not be authentic. Okay. The passion is authentic. And at the same time, there is something that there's a stillness and an okayness and even a surrender to being able to hold this position that allows us to navigate this with maturity and with even some wisdom. So that's what I kind of feel right now. I would kind of challenge everyone, or just have them be curious about, is what would it mean for me in this moment? Because I doubt anybody who's watching or listening to this is, undecided. I got a feeling you're passionate one way or another. And I'm just struck by that. I mean, this is old news, but I just struck by it. I don't go, don't with the COVID and everything else, don't go out that much, but just because recently I've been out attending to some things, is just seeing the starkness of the division. This isn't new, but I mean, just seeing it in people's faces and seeing them, how they're looking at me, and I can feel, maybe I'm paranoid. I'm thinking they're looking, are you a Trumper or are you a Biden guy? So anyway, just in this moment, how do we pretend we don't care? But at the same time, how do we care with a deep maturity and equanimity and willingness to not lose our cool and get all victimized by what's going on?
Yeah.
Long answer to the question.
I know. I think it's so good to kind of catch up to what are we talking about when we talk about words and terminology, because I think it matters, and then it gives people kind of a frame of reference, or of where you're coming from. And I love Thich Nhat Hanh. If anybody has not seen, this is one of my favorite little books by him. I'll show you. It's such an easy read. It has these just tiny little things in it. Anyway, sorry, I love him, and thank you for bringing up his name. But one thing that I wanted to say in response to you about the being lukewarm, is that we're in this close race for the presidential election, and what we're seeing, regardless of outcome, is division. We're seeing there's still this whole group of people who have, who we've spent these 4 years doing things a certain way, or a specific way. And there are people who are like, yeah, I still want to keep doing that. And that can come as kind of a shock and a surprise. But also not, for some people, they're like, yeah, that's not a surprise to me, but that hurts me. That's painful. That's actually against my identity, as an individual. I have friends who, are really hurt and threatened by what this means for a large percentage of our population, even if it's halfsies, to say, yeah, I'm still going to do this. I'm still okay with this. And so I appreciate what you're saying in acknowledging that. And I don't know how political we want to be today, because I'm usually a little 2 steps back from everyone else. But I wanted to open that up to you to just share where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think that, because I've thought about this a little. I didn't know what I was going to do till I woke up this morning, and then I knew, is that, yeah, let me take a step back, because when I talk about passion, equanimity, then, but normally when in coaching or mentoring or just hanging out with people or whatever, or just talking to myself, what I generally hear is, okay, I want to get a balance between the two. I don't want to get too passionate. I don't want to get, I don't want to get too crazy. I want to have both of these. And people feel that they need to toggle back and forth between those two. And the first point I want to make that's kind of to get to the answer or to get to response to what you said is, it's not a balancing. It's not a question, oh, I got to turn down my passion so I could be equanimous, or I got to get out of my comfort, I got to get out of my meditation so that I can go engage and be crazy. No. There's a way that when you are connected to your heart, we can talk about what that means, or your passion, whatever you want to call it, when you're really connected with your passion and purpose, and that purpose can again be just making money at your business to feed your family. It's not totally, out of the, it's in life, that you find that those two actually feed themselves and they coexist. And how, that in my passion, I find equanimity, in my equanimity, I find a certain passion. So that's just one point to get into, that we're not talking about toggling back and forth. And so then so when I go into that, so, if you think about that in your own life, if I'm not getting too far out there, is okay, so where is the place that I hold, that I feel both passionate and peaceful? Okay, what is that? What situation? It could be a situation. It could be a person you hang out with. It could be, watch a mother breastfeed her baby. I think there's just so many different examples of that, and where you're both. And so feeling with that, and to me, is as trite as it sounds, it really does come back to love. And so, and to kind of answer your question, is that I feel so my daughter is in Utah, and she told me that there was a Trump parade that went by, and caravan, and she said something, and this teenage boy said, "F you, bitch," and I just think, that mentality that they would say that to my daughter, because that angers me, that pisses me off. Okay, and so I want to typecast everyone as being that 15-year-old kid on the motorcade going by and say, those are the people that are. And then I find out that these people that I love and respect and admire are supporters as well. And so there's a way that when you bring it down individually and individuate it, that it's very hard to hold on to that. I think that, to me, is kind of the key to the division, is how much one can just break the stereotypes and leave room for whoever these, the individual expressions of your own caring, your own love, and your passion, without going in with so many ideas that there's just no space for that person to be other than whoever's on the other side of the political divide.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like recognizing the self in others too, right? Like there are times where I wouldn't probably literally ever yell that at someone driving down the street to their face, but like at the same time, I have to acknowledge my own anger or frustration about something that I think is like an injustice or something, right? And that I would feel this like, and I appreciate how you defined passion as not just the heat, because we can feel the heat. We can sometimes it flushes our cheeks, like we literally physically like feel warm, flushed from the passion that is in us. And I love how you spoke about alignment instead of just heat or power or strong feelings, like, because true alignment is where we have that what is it called, wu and wei, the yin and the yang, like it's where we have both things that line up, and then we are the most efficient, effective people, and we're the most efficient and effective, like as ourselves, and what you always talk about, our highest and greatest selves, like we are more capable of that when we are aligned in our passion versus spewing obscenities in our passion. And I'm admitting that I've certainly done that. So
you can stay, even though you confess to that, you can still finish this interview, and we'll give you your rosaries, how many rosaries you got to say afterwards.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. If I believed in penance, if I was going to be that kind of pastor.
Just, Stacy is in divinity. What do you call it right now? Divinity training?
I'm in seminary doing a master in divinity. Yeah. So but I don't believe in penance.
Okay, well that's good.
I like some restitution though. I like some restitution. I like some stuff like that. Like make it right, like that person owes your daughter an apology, and that person owes themselves the ability to sit down and be like, why am I so messed up that I'm like yelling at a kid? You know, what's up with that? But we, as people who are experiencing it and seeing it, we're not above reproach. You know, I've done that in my mind for, 100,000 times over the 42 years I've been alive, right? So I just appreciate your differentiation between alignment and passion as heat.
Yeah, and I want to actually tell a quick story, and then Rini, I'd love to hear your voice in here too, but because I want to take this back to our businesses, because this is a business oriented whatever. And I was thinking in my own, once I realized this is what I want to talk about this morning, I'm walking the dogs and I'm thinking, well, how has this showed up in my life? What's the difference between being like the right aligned passion and unaligned passion? Good way to look at it. So I was thinking back to when my passion as an attorney, I'm thinking like when I was most passionate as an attorney. And it was a case where the child was out on a cult, and the child was actually like the sexual toy of the leader of the cult. And a mother came to get the kid off, and this is in my book, and I got an order for them to go pick the child up, and the judge called the community and said they're coming out, and they couldn't get the kid. And so the kid was whisked away. And talk about passion. I mean, I know you get that consternation on your face, right? I mean, that's a time for, I was a maniac. I went in and told the judge. I mean, I didn't know if he was going to put me in jail or what. But I mean, and we were in the papers and all over and fighting this thing like to the death. And I had that kind of fire. And that's the fire that I had in my belly as an attorney. It's easy to say, oh, good work, Dave. You're such a nice guy, But I mean, really, I just cared so deeply about this stuff, which is great. It served me well. But what there was as well is there was all this drama, It was unnecessary drama with a passion that I didn't need. I didn't realize that. I needed it at the time because I needed the ego to feed my passion, right? I'm a young guy. I'm fighting the judges, and I'm fighting everybody else, and I'm fighting this cult community that owns the courthouse. And so, yeah, I needed the drama. I mean, the drama was there, but there was all this drama, like I'm doing God's work, and that was beyond the passion. And I look back at it like, And then I'm thinking of another instance, and then so I want to juxtapose that. Okay, so there's passion, which is good, but there's drama. When I look back, and I think there's so much ego in that. Okay, not that I was doing anything wrong, or maybe not even that the ego wasn't serving me, but there was superfluous drama because I felt I was doing God's work and I was doing this. And then I had an experience not too long ago, and I got Julie's permission to tell this story. I know better. Sometimes I get out ahead of myself, and I don't honor her privacy. My enthusiasm gets the better of my respect for her privacy. But the short version is, we were in court over, it was a small claims thing with her former landlord and landlady when she first moved here from Nashville. And the place she stayed in was just a dump. And it was this one problem after another. And there was a small claims court dispute over the security deposit. And I go in there and I talk to the magistrate. I say, hey, I'm not licensed in North Carolina. I'm like, can I come in and represent her? She said, no. Yes, practicing law. I said, well, can I just tell her the questions to ask? He said, no, that'd be practicing out of a license. I said, I'll let you sit at counsel table. So I'm sitting with her, and this case is going on. And the lawyer on the other side, I can't say anything, so I'm going nuts, as you might imagine. I'm ready to explode. And the lawyer starts saying that the reason that something happened was because Julie, who was still technically married at the time, had moved me in with her husband all at the same time. And so we're having some kind of threesome there, okay? I'm listening, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just seething. And I lean over to Julie and I said, Julie, is it okay if I tell the lawyer that the next time he makes a crack about your integrity, I'm going to wring his fucking neck? And Julie, of course, thinks I'm kidding. She said, oh yeah, it's okay. So I sit there for another minute, and then I just go over and I lean over. There's a space between the counsel tables. And I said, you make one more crack about that woman's integrity, and I'm going to wring your fucking neck. And he jumps up and screams, oh, Your Honor, Mr. Gold just threatened to wring my neck in open court. And of course, the magistrate throws me out of court. I walk out and I think, wow, what did I do? And then I just had this feeling of, oh, I'd done the right thing. And and there was no drama. It looked dramatic, but I never thought about it. It was so spontaneous that and I was thinking, that's the difference, that's the passion without the drama. It looks the same. It feels the same. Both had the outcome might even be the same. My passion still, serves me. But there's a way of just the authenticity, the authenticity of, oh, this means so much to me that I'm just responding, versus, oh, this means so much to me and that means something about me, right?
Mm-hmm.
It means that I'm doing God's work and I'm right and they're wrong, and the whole story that goes with it, where you have the passion without the story, without the drama. And it just serves us so well. And it's had a funny outcome of the story, which I'll tell you two afterwards. But I don't want, I've told enough of the story. But that was one of my finest hours. And the great thing that came out of it is Julie knew, oh, she had a man here. He looks like a little guy, a sweet guy, spiritual guy, talks love and all this stuff. But damn it, anybody says a bad word about me, he's gonna wring their fucking neck in open court. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I just been trying to tell that story.
I mean, do not mess around.
And I feel the way about you two. That's the thing. I mean, I think you both know that I just feel that way, and not just because I'm the guy, I felt that way about my partners.
Yeah.
I just feel like people I love. And that is authentic passion. Now, if I start getting into, I'm the guy and I'm going to protect, and all that other crap, that's an extra level, and that gets you in a mess.
Yeah. So, to think about like having the passion without the drama. I mean, when I woke up today and started reaching out to people and just going on social media to see what people were saying, and, just trying to, everybody who feels like, they believe in justice and they believe in mercy and they believe in decency, human decency, feels like a gut punch, because we are so passionate about those things that we believe in, and we want to see a country that's built on those kind of principles, and we're feeling this gut punch. And there's this feeling of just this overwhelming despair of like, what the fuck is going to happen in the next week, next month, next year, next 4 years. And, not even just the despair, but just the grief is real, for so many people over the last 4 years. Things have gotten so hard, and then COVID hit and it's been even harder, and we're waking up to a reality that the beloved country that we thought we lived in is not the country that we actually lived in, because this white supremacy and this racism and this racial divide is so intense and so beyond everything that we thought we were. And it's face now, as like people are saying, like, this isn't the country that I thought I lived in, and yet for half of the country it's never been that country that we have like thought we were living in, because our country has been built on the blood, sweat, and tears of people of color, Black, Hispanic, Chinese, Latino. And so I hear what you're saying about just like trying to be passionate without the drama, but I'm not sure I'm there. I feel shouting and screaming, and I've had to like bite my tongue all morning to not get on Facebook and just add more drama into the world. But I feel like there's things I want to say. I want to shout and scream and protest and rail at people that I love, and just I don't know. I hear what you're saying. Today I don't feel like I can turn it down. I feel like there's the drama that's in my heart, and I go for it, just be dramatic.
Well, I just have to say that I haven't heard anything that you said that I think I think is at least been problematic. Or at least been like, oh, you're not getting, oh, Rennie, when you're as spiritual as I am, then you'll just be able to say, oh, it's all God's word. You know, there's none of that. No, that I don't think, again, I don't have, I'm trying to, we've already used the F word, so I can say this. I don't have the ass kicked out of this, That's another Western expression. But there's a way that you can have all that. The drama, I think, and I would add the drama. I don't know where the passion ends and the drama begins, obviously. I just can't get a scalpel in there. The drama to me is when it becomes about you, when it becomes your story. Okay. I don't hear your story. I hear you feeling the anguishment of the injustice and what's happening right here. And it's about them. And that's the difference. Maybe I put the drama that way, when the drama is about me and what I'm doing and how I feel about it. I'm the guy or the woman that's going to save the world or whatever, and you might be. But it's not, it's about keeping our story out of the purity of the passion that we feel. And that doesn't take away our individuality. It's the opposite. I see more now in this moment, Rennie, than almost any, and this isn't denigrating the times we spent together, but I'm seeing you and your passion right now. And that's beautiful. That's because it's you. So I think just giving ourselves permission to feel what we feel, and it takes courage. And you mentioned spiritual bypass things. And this is what I used to do and I was a spiritual guy. So I would get all upset about something and I'd go to my cabin and meditate because that's what spiritual people did. And then I realized the whole world was an illusion. That's spiritual bypassing. That's not what I'm talking about here. That's not what we're looking for here. And and this takes a lot of courage more than anything, and vulnerability. There's the ability to hold on to the passion and hold on to the perfection of life all at the same time, without using one to blunt the other, because they're both too much to bear. I'm getting a little heavier here than I normally. The beauty of life is it breaks our heart, and the injustice of the world breaks our heart. And so we tend to temper one with the other to keep us really in more of a comfort zone. But do we have the courage to really live the fullness of the perfection of everything and the incredible injustice that we just aren't going to stand for? So I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go from there. That's pretty heavy.
Yeah, there isn't a magic wand that we can shake to make things better. I mean, we just all will have to live with this in our own manner and our own way, and just try to reach out and be as authentic as we can in order to hold the world in our heart and our prayer as we move through it.
There's an interesting question that you both have heard what me use a lot. I use it in our group, in our Commonwealth group, and I use it with coaching, and I use it with God knows who, with people I run into every day. But I ask, what's yours to do, right? What's mine to do? And that's really the question I think that all of us are faced with, is what's mine to do in this moment. And anyway, that's, to me, then you do whatever is yours to do in this moment. For me, going back over and just, snuggling up next to my wife at 3 o'clock in the morning instead of coming down and looking at the news was mine to do in that moment. That was my next loving choice.
And that's your equanimity coming out, right?
Well said. That's my equanimity. That's my trust in life. And and I think the key, this is so much comes back, and I keep coming back to this, and all of the work, or whatever you want to call it, I'm doing, is it's how much we trust life, without at the same time excusing the parts of life that we can change and we feel need to be.
Yeah, we used to talk about that a lot. Like, I was a social worker and I worked with people in addiction recovery, and one of the AA sayings or models or whatever is to trust the process. And we have people who are going through whatever they're going through with addiction, which is kind of a huge transition. But anytime we're in transition is just big. But this big saying was trust the process, like that we are doing our very best. We're doing the next best thing, as Glennon Doyle likes to say, like we're doing the next best thing. And so like your next best thing, Dave, was to act in equanimity, and it was to snuggle your wife, and it was to go rest with her and to embrace that versus embracing uncertainty and chaos around news media.
Mm-hmm. And it's, as you say that, it just reminds me of something which has been so foundational. And I don't want to get too much into my own dramatic heroic journey, but so much of my life is about struggle and improvement and self-perfection and enlightenment and trying to get rid of the parts of myself that weren't worthy of God or whatever. And then that's been turned on its head in terms of self-acceptance. Is that we can't get this right. And we can't get this wrong. I mean, there's great in both of those. Like, hey, how are we gonna, I'm gonna give you the algorithm, and this is when you should care and when you shouldn't care, and this is when you should, get out and march, and this is when you should just sit and meditate.
Yeah.
No, we don't have that, and so
we're not robots.
No, and you can't get it wrong. I mean, I really believe that. I believe that there's just fun. I mean, it's a cosmic question, but I think just individually, it's easier for us to understand too, especially if we're just true, if we are authentic to ourselves and we allow ourselves to feel deeply, and we still, temper this with a certain amount of philosophic flavor or a certain amount of, humility about how important we may or may not be in the grand scheme of things. I'm not trying to create a witch's brew of stuff and throw it all in and you get it right. It's that I just feel like when I'm with you two, I know you two can't screw it up. You're not going to screw it up. You're not going to do it. Oh my God, Rainey, why the hell did you get so worked up over this? Or Stacy, whatever. Why didn't you get so, I'm just playing with this stuff. But seriously, I've said this to both of you. You're perfect. I just want you to be more perfect. I just want not even more perfect. I just want to see your perfection take bigger forms. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is a permission we can give ourselves when we're living in authenticity and we're living in trust, is that we can trust ourselves and know that we can't get it wrong. We do what's ours to do, and we can't even understand what that looks like. But there is a great comfort and happiness that I get out of just when I am in tune with the truth of the fact that I can't screw it up. And part of it is because I mean, at this point in my life, I know who I am. Mm-hmm. And I know that I know I can tick off all of my faults, and you've both seen them, and at times I've probably exasperated you with them. I can tick off all those things, but I know that I care deeply. I want to do the right thing. I want to do the highest and best. I want to bring out the highest best in you and in everyone that's in our world. And with that, I can not sit there and kill myself when it looks like I said the wrong word or failed to say the right word or whatever. Mm. And I think everyone listening to this can have that same degree of trust in themselves and at least experiment with that trust. Say, what does it feel like if I really do the okayness of myself? If I really feel fundamentally into the okayness of myself, not all the ways that we're not yet perfect. And I think it's so needed right now in terms of how we navigate this, because none of us, I can't see a way out. I can't, I don't see how, this is the daylight that we're going to run to. I can't micromanage. I don't see how we micromanage our way out of this. And it's going to take just people like us, including the people listening to this, to be able to hold on to their passion and their equanimity and to see what it's ours to do at the moment. Yeah. So, wow, that's pretty heavy stuff. I don't know if I should tell some jokes or what.
No, I want to keep going. I'm like, so should I read from Thich Nhat Hanh real quick, or do you want to hear from MLK? Because both of those people, man, are just coming up. So
I tell you what, one thing I would recommend, and I always say this, but I don't know, again, the technology and how it works, is that we're going to go into this more deeply tomorrow in a more intimate setting, a collective setting, with different voices in our Commonwealth group tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And if you are interested in coming in as a guest for that day, then I think that would be great. And again, I know people can't really put in the chat because this is happening live in the chats, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But on the Facebook site, there will, we'll post, you want to just post, how do you guys want to do this? How can we make this available tomorrow to people come in and continue this conversation?
Well, one, they can put a comment in the, because we're a Facebook Live, they can put a comment and say, hey, I'd like to guest pass. And I will also put the link to the guest pass on Facebook today, so that if somebody has seen this video and they really want to check out what we have to say tomorrow, that they can join us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can send me a, go ahead.
Oh, and then I will send them an email to the Commonwealth link, the Zoom link, so that they can join the meeting tomorrow.
Terrific. Do you want to say something, Stace?
You can just be in touch with me. You can text me, email me, call me, send me a personal message, DM, whatever the words are.
How do they find you?
I mean, like on Facebook, you can send it to me, or if you know me and you're vibing along with us, I have some good friends who are kind of interested. If you haven't gotten a guest pass from me yet, just remind me. If you want one for tomorrow, remind me. I think I've sent out a few for this week. I'm kind of excited about. I have some really cool friends that started a really neat catering company in Carborough, so I'm hoping they'll join us tomorrow. But this is good stuff too. And so if you're part of the, Heart Power Adventures, if you're already part of the Commonwealth and you have a friend that you want to invite, message me about that. Like, you all know my email. So message me about that, or send me a personal message here on Facebook that says, hey, I need that link. And I think Commonwealth members, like, they get what we're doing and why we're doing it and how we're doing it. And so there's some trust built in there that they would just welcome a friend tomorrow. We're all looking for avenues to process. And I do feel like, personally and professionally, this is a great place to be able to come with your really, and yeah, there's a buzz term, authentic self, like, and we might not like that term a lot, or vulnerability, we might not love that term, but we are trying to do something, for lack of better words, that resembles that, in how we're showing up for each other and with each other and for ourselves and our families and our communities and our jobs and our careers and our professions. So we want to do that alongside you guys, and we welcome you.
Yeah, and I get the last word because I started it. I used to love it when I was a lawyer. I got to go last. Is that I just want to say that we talk about in the Commonwealth and in everything we do about talking from it and not about it. And so what we're talking, I think what came through is the three of us are talking from passion and equanimity. We're not just talking about it. And I wanted to say too that the people, Stacy and Rennie, have shown such passion as we've had to reformulate on the fly and redo and all the changes, and there's been conflict and all kinds of, just whatever you call it. And both of you have just been such rocks of bringing your passion, not turning down how you feel about it, at the same time holding space for us to continue to build and to grow. And I want to just acknowledge that and thank you both for that. And it's a gift that we continue to give to each other and to everyone else. So I'm going to gavel this down. We'll start the recording, and you and I can and I can keep chatting for a little bit. But it's a beautiful sunny day, and I want to get out into it with my puppy dogs. So thank you everyone for listening. And I hope again that I won't apologize. I know it got kind of heavy, but I think it's the right moment. And thank you all for the passion that you're bringing to what we all, whatever you most know is right and yours to do. And I hope to see some of you tomorrow in the Commonwealth group.
Thank you, Dave, for everything you shared today, for your willingness. Thank you, Rennie, for always making everything happen. I don't know what I would do without you in my life, personally and professionally. I'm so grateful for you. And Dave, just thank you for everything you shared. And let's keep this conversation going. It's Facebook Live, but you're welcome to add comments underneath this video. And we're all three of us are online, and we can look at it and respond and react. So if something came up for you, or if you have a question, or if you have a comment, or if you have advice for us, or other people in our community, anything, just feel free to add it below. We want this to be an engaging space. And it doesn't actually matter where you're at, just share it. We're open books, and so we're not looking for anybody to agree with us. We're looking for really great dialogue, so please bring that.
Very good. All right, Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
I'm very
friends.
We'll talk to you soon.